What's up guys, I'm your host Emily for emilysrobotronics.in, and here is another video of my 2-in-1 soldering station, and I will be doing a complete review of this product today, and will share with you some of the ups and downs of this unit. So let's just jump in and start with the review. So behind the unit there is a power switch, which is the main power switch for controlling the entire unit. So switching on or switching off will enable the display, will enable or disable the complete unit. And once you switch on, now we have two more switches down there. If I can zoom there and show you, yeah, we have two switches down there. So the one on the left is for the hot air gun, and the one on the right is for the solder unit. So two different switches for two different units, and as you noticed, switching on the power supply here, switching on the switches here will automatically take you to the different modes. So we have rework mode here, and we also have the solder mode. So this basically indicates that you are currently using you are currently in the rework mode. So whatever temperature you set it when this LED is blinking, that means that temperature is for your rework unit. And if you want to change the unit, you can either do this. You can either switch on the respective rework station, respective units here, either the soldering or the rework, and based on that you can set the temperature here. So if you are using both these units, so when both the units are switched on, then what you can do is you can use this blue button here which says set, and you can switch between two different modes. So first let me show you the rework unit, how to set the temperature. So now the rework unit is switched on, and here I have turned on both the units. That means both the units are heating up right now, but this button here will enable us to set the temperature for each of them individually. So now when I set the temperature, this would be for the rework. So clicking on one, it shows the currently it is on the first unit, that is for rework, and when I do a up or a down, this will set the temperature. So let's set the temperature to somewhere about 100. So the lowest temperature that can go for a hot air rework is 100, and the maximum can go up to 500 degrees Celsius. So there it is. I will not be setting it to a maximum temperature, probably somewhere about 200 or 150, just to show you the working of this unit. And yeah, once I set the unit, the temperature is now set. So this unit will make sure the electronic circuitry within this unit will make sure that the temperature of this hot air rework station is maintained at 150 degrees Celsius. So right now I've switched off both of them. Let me just quickly switch it on. Now I switched on, but you don't see any hot air. You don't see the hot air rework station in action. This is because there is a Hall sensor here, which and there's a magnet down in this holder. So once the unit is kept on the stand here, the hot air gun automatically goes to sleeping mode. That means that this unit is currently idle. That means it is on stand, so it won't blow any hot air. So once I take it out of the unit, you should hear the sound. I guess you can hear that sound. So the fan is running now, and that would be putting out the temperature. So if you can see the reading on the display, it's showing up to 250 degrees Celsius. That means that's the current temperature of the hot air rework station. Is now the temperature of the heater is now reduced. So there is a feedback loop mechanism within the unit. So this unit, there's a sensor, temperature sensor within this unit. So that sensor constantly measures the temperature and gives it to the control unit here, and the control unit decides whether the temperature read from this unit is above or below the voltage, above or below the temperature that's set in this unit. So it constantly checks and makes sure there is a feedback mechanism, so the hot air always gives you the temperature that is set. So if you can see now, the temperature of the unit has come down to 150 degrees Celsius, so that's the temperature that we set for the hot air. So as we use this particular unit, the temperature is maintained at 150 degrees Celsius. So you can see that it goes down and comes up as and when the temperature varies, and that's maintained by the feedback mechanism. And the knob down here will let us set the air speed. So the motor drives at a higher speed as you turn the knob towards right, and then the motor runs slow when you bring it towards left. So this knob that you see down here is to adjust the air speed, and these buttons here are to adjust the temperature of the unit, temperature output of the hot air gun. So one flaw that I found with this feedback mechanism is that even though I keep the unit back, it sometimes doesn't detect that that we have placed the hot air gun back on the station. So that would take some time for the unit to recognize that it's actually placed on the stand and bring the unit back to sleeping mode. So that just takes some time. So if you can see, the temperature is actually going down below 100. So probably, I believe so it has gone to sleeping mode now. So there is no hot air being pumped. So it has gone to sleeping mode. So that's how it happens. So it goes to lower temperature, and the unit goes to sleeping mode. So if I can show you the rework unit, it's in sleeping mode, so there is no power output. But our soldering unit is being heated up, and the same mechanism follows for the soldering unit also. The temperature goes up and comes down based on the reading, the sensor reading from here. So if the sensor reads that the temperature of the solder tip is gone below, it will increase the voltage for this particular unit, so the temperature comes up again. So it makes sure that the voltage is kept high as long as it takes for the temperature for the tip to heat up to the voltage, to the temperature, to whatever you have set. So this complete unit is a digital unit wherein there is a feedback mechanism, there's a feedback loop, so you can call it as a PID or what kind of an implementation, I am not sure, but there is a feedback mechanism, or you can say it's a closed loop unit. So you have a complete control over the temperatures that you want to operate your units in. So that's one good thing. So maybe the Hall sensor doesn't work every time, so you'll have to make sure that you leave the unit on the stand for a couple of minutes before it comes down to the temperature. So I have taken it out, and as you see, the temperature is going up. So it should go up to 150 degrees Celsius. 150 degrees Celsius. That's the temperature that we had set, I believe. So initially it hits up, and I believe it will come down. Yeah, it's coming down, and it should set at 150 degrees Celsius. And if I keep back the unit, it will take some time for the unit to recognize and for the unit to bring down the temperature of the hot air gun and make sure it goes to sleep mode after that. So that does take some time. So that's one more flaw that I found. Probably you should shut down immediately the hot air gun, and then temperature will automatically come down. So it should have been there should have been some kind of a mechanism like that. So but that is not happening here. So that's one thumbs down for this unit. And going to the solder unit, this is a solder stand that we got with us, and we had a sponge also. So make sure you wet the sponge before you start using it. So before you start wiping the solder tip on the solder sponge. So now let me just quickly set to the solder and see if the temperature is set up. I'll increase the temperature, so probably somewhere about 350 degrees Celsius, and see how long it takes for the unit for the solder iron to heat up to the set temperature. So we have set it at 350, and the temperature, the reading is also 350. So I'm not sure if there is a feedback mechanism for this. Let us test it. So we have just set the temperature. So I'll just switch off the rework, and I'm just maintaining the solder, and I will set down the temperature to the minimum. So the minimum allowed temperature is 200, and the maximum will go up to 480 degrees Celsius for a solder unit. Yes, there is a feedback mechanism. You just see now I set the temperature to 200, and the temperature is going down. So the current reading that you are seeing now is the reading of the soldering iron, the soldering tip, and it is going down. And one thing that I noticed is the reading. I just used my multimeter that I unboxed previously to measure the temperature of the tip, but there was some variation within the temperature of the tip that I measured externally to the temperature that's actually displayed here. So I believe the sensor is placed somewhere here close to the ceramic heating element. So I'm actually measuring the temperature at the solder tip, so that should definitely give a variation in the temperature, because there is heat already dissipated along this metal element. So I believe that's the reason for it, and the same thing applies for the hot air rework station also. The actual hot air that's put out at the vent down here is not the temperature that's displayed here. So there is a variation. So the sensor that's reading temperature here is the sensor that's here is actually reading the temperature of the coil, and not the temperature of the air that's pumped out from here. So I believe there should have been some kind of an adjustment that's done within the unit, but that is missing. So maybe that's a flaw in the firmware. So that can be maybe if that can be changed. I'm not sure. So that's two things that I noticed in this unit. So two major disappointment with the unit is that not major, especially maybe if you're working on temperature, the temperature sensitive units. So make sure that you actually use a thermometer to measure the temperature of the air that's put out, and then make sure your unit, your soldered component is within that temperature. So just don't go by this temperature down here. So maybe you can have a lookup table, something like that built up. Probably you can spend about 30 to 30 minutes in noting down the actual temperature that's displayed here, and the temperature that you are actually getting at the output, and you can just see the difference. So if once you know the difference, you can actually set your temperature on the display accordingly, so that you will always know that if the temperature reads 220 degrees Celsius, that means you have 200 degrees Celsius air put out, something like that, and that should overcome all your problems. So that is a thing. And one thing that I wanted to check is that what would be its performance if I use both the units at its maximum temperature. So I didn't want to push this unit to such an extent and screw it up. So I just want to use this unit for some time, and probably later on I'll try and put the maximum temperature. I will set both the units to a maximum temperature and see how this device performs, whether the transformer inside is able to pump up so much of energy required to maintain both these units at that particular temperature, or whether it fails. So I'll just let you know about that. Maybe in another video, if I get time, I'll do that, or else I'll just leave the results in the comments below. And yes, that's it. And three attachments that I got with the unit are these nozzles for the hot air. One is a big one is intermediate size, and one is a tiny hole. So depending on the component size, you can pick either of those units, and you can use. And one thing to tell you that I actually forgot is that when you look closely down here in this hot air unit, these are the vents from where the fan inside is supposed to take in the air and then pump out through the vents. So I see that the vents are not actually opened properly, so the vents are not fully open. So I'm not sure if there is a reason behind why it's not fully opened, or whether it's a manufacturing fault. So that's one thing that I need to test. So what I'm going to do is probably open up this plastic case here and try and make holes myself and see if the performance of the hot air gun boosts up. So that's one thing that again I need to check, and I can't confirm whether it's a flaw, but probably about 70% I'm sure that it's a flaw, that it's not the vents are not opened up properly. So that's one bad thing. So I'll just leave a comment on that as well once I open up the vents and see if the performance has come up, or else yep, that's if you have a unit like this, or if you're planning to buy a unit like this, so make sure you can you open up vents there. So probably you can use a small screwdriver or some tip with an abrasive, and you can just cut open the slots, or you can use a simple blade and cut open. So make sure you don't damage the fan within that unit. So just take care of that, and you should be good to go. Yep, that's it guys. That's about the review of this unit. And one more thing that I found was the solder tape that I have on this unit is a pointed one, and it's of no use to me. I would rather have to buy a chisel tip or another bevel tip, bevel tip for this unit. And I found out that that solder tip itself costs somewhere about $3 if you're buying it in India. So the shop from where I bought it, he was asking me, he asked me for another $150 for a solder tip. So I just found one seller on eBay. He is giving out 10 different solder tips of 10 different sizes and 10 different variants, and you get all of them for $11. So that's somewhere about $600 I believe. So it's if you have a lot of components to work on, probably you can definitely spend $600 and get all the different 10 sizes, 10 different variants of the solder tip. So you will have one complete unit with a complete rework station and complete soldering station. So you are spending about $5K and you're getting a complete unit. So that's a great deal. So it's a good product, it's a nice product, and I'm not sure how long it will last, but as of now it's doing its job, and it's doing the job that as mentioned as per the spec. So thumbs up for this device, and if you like this review, do click on the like button, and do subscribe, and do leave your comments. And in case you don't like the video, do let me know. Do click on the like button, do click on the unlike button, and please do leave a comment below so that I can correct myself and I can see where I can improve on these videos. So that feedback is definitely required, so that you guys are happy with my videos. Or else if you click on the unlike button, I kindly request you to leave a comment below as to why you didn't like the video. So that would help me in a lot of ways. So thanks guys, thanks for watching this lengthy review video. So if you guys out there are makers, if you guys out there are hobbyists and looking for a great tool for yourself, go grab this one for yourself. Thank you guys, thanks for watching.